Dear community, a warm welcome to this new video. It's great to have you back with us. Today on the table for you, another brand new power station which is not only beautifully compact, boasting a solid 512 watt-hours of capacity, but also comes with a relatively modest price tag. We're talking about the AF-P010 by Aferiy. In today's video, we'll thoroughly explore what this compact power station has to offer, whether it lives up to its promises, and whether it's truly worth the investment. I hope you're as excited as I am, so without further ado, let's dive right into it after the intro. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to never miss a video in the future. You can find the current prices of this device down below in the video description. Thank you for your support, and now let's get started after the intro. Having tested several power stations for you on this channel recently, by the way, if you haven't seen those videos yet, I'll link them up in the top right corner on the info card. Today, I have another impressive specimen. On the table is the AF-P010 by Aferiy, a compact device with 512 watt-hours and numerous outputs. I'm really curious about what we can expect from this compact power station, what it has to offer, and how it performs in the test. Let's not waste any time and put the device through its paces. But before we begin, let's start with what's included in the package. After all, it's important to see what else comes with this power station. From the product box, we receive, at the very top, of course, the paperwork, meaning a small card for warranty extension, as well as a user manual in multiple languages. Following on the right side is a pencil case-like pouch, which somehow reminds me of my school days. Also included a carrying bag, and finally, neatly tucked in the middle, the actual power station. There it is, the compact AF-P010 by Aferiy with 512 watt-hours. At first glance, the device looks really solid, but I suggest we take a closer look at the device now. Regarding its construction and execution, upon closer examination of this power station, I can only confirm the positive first impression. While the device is entirely made of plastic, as you can see, the thick plastic casing gives off a truly high-quality and robust impression. Furthermore, upon closer inspection, we can see consistent gap dimensions everywhere. No plastic residues, no sharp edges or the like can be found on this device, so overall, the device really gives off a high-quality impression. On the underside, as you can see, there are a total of 4 large rubber feet. This gives the power station a really secure and non-slip footing. For transportation, on the other hand, there's a continuous, nicely sized handle on the top, which I must say offers excellent grip. This is because the handle feels very, very good, meaning we have a nice curvature and there are no sharp edges or the like, as is the case with other power stations, for example. And moreover, as you can see here, there's enough space so that one can easily and securely grip and carry the device, even with gloves, for example. Similarly, the power station has a slight indentation on the top, where I can also easily store and transport my smartphone because due to this curvature, it definitely won't fall out during transport. The question arises, how much does the power station weigh? This is particularly interesting when it comes to transportation. I've checked this for you, of course. The power station weighs 6.39 kilograms. This is definitely not lightweight. However, I would say for a power station of this capacity, namely 512 watt-hours, and with the corresponding features, which I'll also discuss shortly, it's definitely acceptable. In my opinion, the device is not too heavy. Nevertheless, I wouldn't want to carry this power station around with me all day. But now, let's take a look at all the connections. Let's start on the left side. Basically, we can say that the power station has the most powerful inputs and outputs on the left and right sides. The fastest way to charge the power station is found on the left side, namely the power plug. From this small pencil case, we receive, on the one hand, the included power cable and, on the other hand, an adapter cable from MC4 plug to XT60 plug. For this purpose, we find on the left side, as you can see, a large black plastic cover, which I can say is definitely quite practical because it ensures that no dirt accidentally enters the contacts here. However, it could be a bit smoother to operate or offer better grip, as one really needs to use a fingernail to navigate into this small opening to open the cover. Nevertheless, as you can see, it's quite practical. The cover stays open on its own, allowing me to easily access these contacts. So the question arises, what contacts do I really have here? Starting on the right side, there's the input for alternating current. For this, the power cable is included in the package. As you can see, I'm going directly with the alternating current into the power station. I don't need a separate power supply or the like, as is the case with all the other devices I've tested. This, on the one hand, of course, has the huge advantage that I'm much more flexible. This means I can get this power cable practically anywhere, so I can charge my power station anywhere and very quickly. On the other hand, it also has the certain disadvantage that the power supply is already built in here, making the power station, compared to devices where I have the power supply separately, a bit heavier. The second option right next to it is an XT60 plug. With this adapter cable included in the package, I can easily connect, for example, my solar panels to this power station and thus charge the device when I'm on the go, for example, camping. I find it quite remarkable the speed at which you can charge the power station. The fastest charging is done with the power plug. When charging the power station via the power plug, I can get a maximum of up to 400 watts flowing into the power station. This means the device is fully charged from 0 to 100 in about an hour and 30 minutes. Similarly, I can also charge the power station via the solar panels. Here, a maximum of 200 watts is possible as input, and when combined, even up to 600 watts peak. The last option, with which we can both charge and discharge the power station, is found on the front side at the very top left. We're talking about the 12-volt car plug. This has a power range of up to 120 watts, both input and output. This gives us a charging time of around 5 hours compared to this combined method over here. The handy thing is, the most important information, such as the remaining charging time, is always displayed on the large screen. For this purpose, we find the button to activate the power station on the right side, and now you can see the nice large display. In my opinion, Aferiy has done a pretty good job with this. It's sufficiently large, very stable in terms of visibility, sufficiently bright, and it contains all the important information. At the top left, the input power is displayed, while on the right, the output power is shown. In the middle, the current charge level in percentage is displayed, and not to forget, at the bottom left, in hours, it always indicates either how long the device will last or how long it will take to fully charge. In my opinion, the power station offers more than enough options to consume a lot of power. On the front side, we find a total of 5 USB ports, 2 USB Type-A ports with Quick Charge 3.0, 2 USB Type-C ports with power delivery up to 20 watts, and also a USB Type-C port with power delivery up to 100 watts are on board, which I personally find extremely practical. With these, we can charge laptops and other devices that consume a lot of power very quickly. For those who want even faster charging, they should use the alternating current output. This is located on the right side of the power station, protected by a plastic cap just like the input, and as you can see, the power station has a total of 1 alternating current output. The power station is rated on paper for up to 800 watts, which I definitely find very impressive. However, I've checked this thoroughly for you and really put the power station to the test. I started with a basic measurement at the alternating current output. As you can see in the video, the measuring device shows a nice clean sine wave at both 50 and 60 Hz. Yes, you heard that right. The power station can be switched between the two frequencies of 50 and 60 Hz, depending on which country you're currently using the power station in. It works flawlessly, and in both frequencies, we have a nice smooth sine wave coming out of the alternating current output. However, a maximum of up to 800 watts is stated, which I also thoroughly tested for you. Using the power meter, I increased the power in 100-watt increments. I found there was definitely no power drop until reaching 800 watts. Even 850 watts were possible at the output, but after that, there was a complete plateau. This means no matter how high I increased the load, I couldn't draw more than 850 watts from the power station. As you can see in the graph, this model definitely performs quite well with a continuous power output of up to 850 watts compared to the other models tested. I let the device run in this position for a few minutes and took thermal images during that time. I must say I was quite impressed by this too, as even under the continuous load of 850 watts, the power station only became slightly warm, which is undoubtedly due in part to its excellent ventilation. The power station has two built-in fans on the right and left, which are speed-controlled and do not run continuously but only kick in when the interior of the power station exceeds a certain temperature threshold. This means that under normal conditions, the fans hardly ever run, making the power station absolutely quiet. Only when a lot of power is demanded do the fans kick in. For this purpose, I thoroughly put the power station to the test and measured the maximum volume at a distance of 1 meter. As you can see in the graph, I measured results of around 58 decibels, so the P010 is by no means the quietest power station when it's really revved up, but as mentioned, this is fortunately only relatively rare. Now, on to the most important point, namely the capacity. The power station, as one might expect, relies on high-quality lithium iron phosphate cells. These are not only powerful, but also very durable and safe. Overall, we have a capacity of 512 watt-hours here. In practice, I conducted several measurements with the capacity meter for you and determined an average capacity of around 449 watt-hours. It should be noted that the maximum capacity is only reached after several cycles. Nevertheless, we have an efficiency rate, as shown in the graph, of around 87.7%, which is definitely acceptable for this power station. Lastly, I compared the measured capacity with the datasheet and the weight to illustrate the energy density. As you can see, the power station lags behind slightly, but this is definitely justified by the fact that, as mentioned earlier, the power supply is also integrated into the power station. This was not the case with the other models tested. The bulky power supply was outside the power station, resulting in a higher energy density in relation to weight. All in all, I can say that I have definitely tested the power station thoroughly enough, so we can now move on to the final conclusion. In my opinion, the AF-P010 by Aferiy is definitely a solid device. The power station is relatively compact and with a capacity of 512 watt-hours, also sufficiently large to power electrical devices for a somewhat longer period of time. Additionally, the device boasts a high power output of up to 850 watts and can also be fully recharged within an hour through a fast input on the other side. It's worth noting that the device also features a UPS function, thus providing uninterrupted power supply to electrical devices. This is something we search for in vain with other power stations. The only drawback, as mentioned earlier, in my opinion, is the fan. It could really be a tad quieter, especially in indoor environments. So that's about it from my side. If you enjoyed the video, please show your support by giving it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to never miss a video in the future. You can find the current prices to support this channel in the video description below. Thank you very much for your support, and with that, I would say take care until next time.